Even in this remote corner of the world, humans have had an incredible impact on the environment. When a keystone species is on the brink of extinction, largely because of human activities, we need to sit up and start paying attention. My name is Jessica Hutchinson. I'm an ecologist, and for the last 15 years, I have been working in habitat restoration here on the coast of Vancouver Island. The one thing that probably connects everyone who lives in these communities is this love of nature. People are drawn to it because it is just this beautiful part of the world that is so rugged, so remote, and it's very unique. I moved to Tofino when I was doing my undergrad. I moved in the hopes of learning how to surf and getting some work experience, sort of find some direction in my career. I got a job working for a forest engineering company. My job basically involved laying out logging blocks, marking out the areas within a forest that are set to be cut. It is not an easy thing to decide which trees are going to live and which ones are going to be cut. It weighed on me. Ultimately, I just got tired of the guilt and wanted to do something that I could stand behind. I am still involved in the forest industry, but now my role is really repairing the damage that had been done decades before.
We're planting western red cedar and Sitka spruce on the banks of the Atleo River. These trees will grow up and provide shade and nutrients to the river and have huge root systems that prevent erosion and secure the banks of the river so that we have the habitat the wild salmon need.
At Central West Coast Forest Society, we are so fortunate to work with the logging industry who bring a wealth of knowledge to the work we do.
All right, we're gonna take off now.
You get a different perspective of the scale of a logging from the air. You can see thousands of hectares of forests that have been logged decades ago and still have not recovered. This resulted in extensive erosion and the degradation of salmon habitat.
When it slid all the way to the river and basically bisected the river with gravel.
In a very short time period, we have logged an extensive portion of Vancouver Island. And we're seeing that reflected in the staggering loss of salmon populations on the coast.
Kyle and Simone and I will swim upriver. In this pool, we should see some chum, maybe a couple Chinook if we're lucky.
There's this unique relationship that exists between a salmon and a forest. Salmon are almost as much an aquatic species as they are a terrestrial or land-based species because part of their life cycle in the freshwater environment depends so greatly on the forest that surrounds these rivers.
This used to be a forest, and then after they logged it, the river just unraveled, and we have this massive unvegetated gravel bar. So we've done all this willow staking to slow the water and let branches and leaf litter drop out of the water column and begin the regeneration of a forest on this gravel bar. pretty nice that we get to spend this much time in a watershed to get to know it and then to get to see its like recovery and to have that little touch to help it along.
I really like when we build these ones here. You can instantly see the pools forming. You can see the little fish in there right away.
To go out this big when you leave the river and then to come back this big.
Going from fresh water to salt water and back. That's like us going to space and back without any oxygen.
I've always roped my brother into restoration projects. He owns a boat, and that's a valuable asset on any restoration project.
We have been doing restoration here for 5 years in the upper watershed, and we've been researching juvenile salmon populations in the estuary, where we are right now, for 5 years now.
A successful restoration project is a visual indicator of the health of an ecosystem. You can measure it by just looking at the salmon population alone, because salmon are this keystone species, and if we can effectively revitalize their populations, we will see a ripple effect.
We got a salmon. I think we have a Chinook, and we are at 7.5.
To see salmon use a portion of the river that you've restored is an amazing feeling. It's those relationships that we're developing with nature that's going to help us heal it and help us restore these watersheds.
The watersheds are what feeds our community.
Yeah.
The world needs people to think of another way to do things.
Can we leave the world a better place than we found it?
Yes, of course we can.
But we need to make a conscious decision to do that. Immersing yourself in nature is like the first step.
Humans have this innate connection to nature, be that like a small plot of land, your backyard, your neighborhood beach or forest. The more you develop that relationship and that connection to nature, the more value you'll see in the protection and restoration of nature. As soon as we take those steps, we'll be able to find ways to help ecosystems recover.